Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast. I am your host, Chuck Manity. And in today's episode, we are going to be covering Love, Death and Robots Season 1, Episode 8. The name of this episode is Good Hunting. The IMDb rating is 8.0 out of 10 with 19,000 reviews. So that means it is very good. And I have to agree with that. So my personal opinion on this one, it's a very great story. People in the Far East definitely know how to character create, to create story arcs, all sorts of plot twists and all that. And the running time of the show is 17 minutes, and that's how long they have to do it. So they have to make you care in 17 minutes, which is why I think Love, Death and Robots is a fantastic series. This particular episode aired on March 15th, 2019. So the brief synopsis is: the son of a spirit hunter forges a bond with the shape-shifting Huli Jing. The directors were Ki-Yong Bae, Daewoo Lee, Gabriella Pinocchioli. The writers were King Lu, Philip Gillett, Tim Miller. And then the stars were Elaine Tan as the adult Yan, Matthew Yang King as adult Liang, Gwendolyn Yeo as Cao Jung, Maddox Henry as young Liang, and Sumali Montano as young Yang, and then JB Blanc as the supervisor. So, just some trivia. The story was originally written by best-selling Chinese author King Lu and is featured in his book of short stories, The Paper Menagerie. So, like I said, I did enjoy this episode. It is quite adult-centered. I wouldn't let your kids watch this, of course. I don't think any of the Love, Death and Robots is meant for children. So, without any further ado, let's get straight into the review. So, it opens up with the Netflix logo and the title sequence. So, it opens up with what looks like a monastery of some sort, and then you see Liang and his father busy hiding in the bushes. They are waiting for a spirit. Now, Liang's father is a spirit hunter, and it says that he's one of the bravest of all time and one of the best spirit hunter, protecting humanity against the spirits that would want to harm. So Liang asks his father, when will she come? In other words, the spirit. And the father replies that they cannot resist the cries of a man that they have bewitched. There's a shot of the monastery doors opening, and then you see a beautiful Asian lady, which you already know for fact, because that's obviously what they're hunting. This is a spirit. Young Lian is looking and peering at her through the bushes, and you can see on his face that he's almost entranced by her beauty, because his eyes sort of glimmer a little bit more open, and you just get that look on his face that he knows what he's looking at is fantastically beautiful. To which his father immediately warns him that he mustn't stare at her, she will entrance him. But you almost get the feeling that it's almost too late. Liang's father attacks the spirit, and he is horribly outmatched and does not exactly what you'd call, he doesn't lose outright, because the spirit, you can see, is not actively trying to harm him in the sense, but he is definitely not winning this one. Liang shouts at his son, saying that he needs to grab the urine that's in some sort of jar, and he needs to be throwing it on the spirit. Once he gets close enough to throw the urine at the spirit, he hesitates and actually eventually doesn't do it. Because of Liang's hesitation, his father grabs the jar from him and then throws the urine at the spirit. It looks like this forces her to change into some sort of fox being, and she screams and howls in pain at the same time. So this obviously affects them in a negative way. Liang's father says that she's now trapped in a half form, which looks like half human, half what almost looks like a fox type thing. And Liang apologizes to his father, saying that he's sorry that he hesitated. Liang's father then says that the hunt is not over, so they continue to pursue the spirit. They are chasing each other on the rooftops of different monasteries and buildings, and Liang's father catches her unaware as she does a jump to get from one building to another, and he slices her a little bit with a samurai sword, hurting the spirit quite badly. And when I say quite badly, he managed to chop her hand off. There's a dilapidated building that they managed to corner the spirit in. There's only an entrance and exit on opposite sides of the building. So Liang's father goes in the one side and he tells him to go to the back, obviously to trap the spirit inside, of which the father believes that this is a den that she's made. Liang comes across a young fox that's hiding in between the rubble on the back end, because he heard a little noise coming from there, and then he jumps to grab this little fox, and that turns into a half human, half fox situation. And this is going to be the young Yan, and Yan is asking Liang why they are hunting them. They've done nothing to the humans, and he wants to know why, or she wants to know why they are being hunted by them. The explanation from young Yang is that the reason the man is howling is because he wanted the spirit to come to him. He's terribly in love or infatuated with the spirit, and they can hear, once connected, they can hear that man from no matter where they are. So Yan explains to Liang that it's not her that is pursuing him, it's him that actively wants her to come to him the whole time. And Yan explains to Liang that a man can fall in love with a hulijing, which is what she's calling them, and that's the explanation, obviously, to Liang, to explain that it's not just men falling in love with humans, they can fall in love with hulijing as well. And it's not sort of like black magic or anything to entrance the men, it's just because it's just as easy to fall in love with a hulijing as a human. So that's the explanation. As Yan's mother comes out the back where Liang was supposed to be watching as she came out, you saw her holding her hand because obviously it was chopped off a little bit earlier. So she says to Yang that she mustn't trust the human, she knows how dangerous they are. And as she says that, she hears Liang's father coming from behind her, and as she turns around, he chops her head off. Then Liang's father comes out and he's asked him if he's seen any sign of pups, and Liang doesn't say anything regarding seeing anyone. And the pup is obviously the girl that he was speaking to, and that is young Yan. They time jump 5 years into the future, and Liang mentions that his father had now passed away and he is now buried next to Liang's mother, and he's at their tombstones, busy obviously giving his respects and so on. He mentions that he misses his father quite terribly. Liang makes mention that he's happy that his father died, in not the sense that he doesn't miss him, but because the world is modernizing, there's trains coming through, and his father would not have understood that, because his father seemed to be very set in his ways, old school, very tough, sort of predating obviously modern times type of father, so you can almost imagine. Liang makes mention that he's now friends with Liang. He also said that she never blamed him for her mother's death, because it's not him, it's his father that swung the blade. And he brings her some food to eat. Yan makes mention that the form that she takes to hunt is not working as well because of all the smoke, the fog, and the modernization of the world is sucking out the magic from what was in the world previously. Liang told Yang that he's going to leave the village, asks her what she'd do, and all she said is she needs to survive. And then he makes his way to Hong Kong, and he worked at the train line at Victoria Peak. He makes mention of the English being there, and obviously talks about the early days of colonialism. So we get a bit of a time jump again, 5 years again, and Liang is now working on the railroads. He's busy fixing all sorts of motors and systems to make sure it keeps running, and he's getting pretty good at it. And then an English gentleman refers to him and says, "Listen, Liang, you're getting pretty good for a Chinaman," which I believe is a somewhat derogatory statement that would not fly in the modern day. Liang is leaving work and he comes across a couple of English gentlemen being very, very rude towards a lady, I would assume a lady of the night, and they are asking her to work overtime, and she is not keen. She says that she's very tired, and there's about 4 or 5 of them, and they're getting a little bit rowdy, and Liang confronts them to tell them to stop. So Liang ends up saving the young lady and removes her from the dangerous situation between those foul gentlemen. The lady in question is Yan. She looks a smidgen different to what you used to, obviously because of the attire that she has on, the hair, and so on. But it is Yan that he now saves. He is having a conversation with her, and it seems that she's pretty much stuck in human form at this point because of all the pollution and the modernization of the world, sucking out the magic, as I have previously mentioned. She even says that she can't run very fast. So they both make mention of serving their English masters, him in the form of keeping the trains running, and her in the form of what she was previously accused of doing, is bewitching men. But obviously she's not doing that. She's a very good looking lady, and that's obviously why she can make a very decent living from being a lady of the night. Yan has a nostalgic moment with Liang, saying that she wishes that she could be leaping from pillar to post, from roof to roof in her actual form. So she's obviously missing the form that she used to take, and now being stuck in human form, you could see that she's nostalgic of her old form, or her shape-shifting form. Liang talks about staying in the city, saying that he's really good at making trains and run and mechanics and all that, and there is a setup here of him getting better and better at different mechanical things. You see him taking notes as he sees different mechanizations taking place, and obviously documenting that and coming up with his own creative endeavors along the process of this. So he makes mention of a thing called automata. He thinks that he's even better at that than looking after trains. So the first creation of his, it looks like a bunny rabbit, and it's actually a totally mechanical bunny rabbit that actually has motion and can move around. It's almost like the mechanical rabbit is completely alive. Liang is busy sleeping in his bed, and you see a shot from above his bed, and then he hears a ruckus, he hears a noise, and he grabs his samurai sword to go and investigate, and lo and behold, before him he sees Yan. Yan then tells Liang that she needs his help. Liang asks Yan what is wrong, and then she shows him that her body is mostly mechanical at this point. He asks her what happened, and she explains that the governor was a customer of hers, and he used to be a gentleman, and so on and so forth. However, the one evening he spiked her drink, and she woke up to being a guinea pig in an operation of some sort, where they replaced her limbs and a lot of her body with mechanical elements. So she makes mention of the governor's perversion, that he was only aroused by mechanics, and this is why he opted to make her mechanical. Clearly what happened is he decided no, he wants the mechanics, obviously from what I said previously. He was obviously doing really foul things to Yan, and the one evening she just had enough, and then she got rid of the governor, let's just say that. Yan makes mention that she also wants to hunt now, and what she does want to hunt now is the men that do evil to herself and Liang alike. Liang is now on a mission to help Yang with obviously the atrocities and adversity that she's had to adhere to or be subdued to, I beg your pardon. But in saying that, he starts making her mechanics a little bit more high-tech, a little bit more volatile, to obviously now go on a rampage to help Yan get her revenge that she is, at this point, to be honest, clearly allowed to take control of. So there's a montage of Liang helping with all the different elements and improving on Yan's, let's call it, biomechanical suit, so to speak. It's not even a suit, she's partly robot, so all the little mechanisms he's busy upgrading, and it goes through a whole montage of that whole process. There's a big suit reveal, and the suit reveal is very interesting. So it goes from, it's able to warp from her human form to, and it mimics what her animal shape-shifting form was. So she can now, with that robot situation, change between the two. And there's some sort of elixir, let's call it, that Liang gave Yan, and you see it makes her whole chest red. So this is obviously to power up her mechanical parts to the max. You know, it's almost like putting a whole bunch of coal extra into a coal powered train, you know, where you can make it so hot that it performs to the total maximum. Yeah, the suit is so capable that even her face changes to the shape-shifting form. After she makes her way into the city, the shot changes to a lady of the night running from danger of some sort, and there's men busy pursuing this lady of the night into an alleyway where she gets cornered off. These men are super abusive, and obviously you in the space of like, yes, okay, these guys are gonna deserve everything that they have coming to them. So what you see next is you see a shadow going past them. They obviously catch the shadow in eye view. They turn around, and on a post coming from the side of a building, you do see Yang in her animal form, but obviously robot animal form. And the last thing you see before the episode ends is Yang jumping from the pole with spiky teeth and all sorts of craziness, jumping towards these gentlemen, obviously to take revenge on women that are being abused. So what a crazy show, what a crazy message. It's very deep, I have to say. It's very deep. It's not a one-tier system story. It is layered. It is great. I can understand why it got an 8.0 rating on IMDb. It is really good. So if you did like the episode and you watched it, please do comment below and let us know. Regarding today's review, please also comment and let us know if you enjoyed the review today. Besides that, some things to look forward to in the future. Ben is going to be doing some reviews on Avengers Comics, a comic run that was in the 90s, I believe, and then also he's going to be doing The Boys review. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. But if you liked today's episode, please show us some love by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.